Farmer D's, Culper, Virginia.
Yeah, good morning. This is Farmer D out of Culper, Virginia. A nice, bright, warm Tuesday morning in May. I think today is the 4th day of May. And I was out here working in the garden as always. Patrick's in the kitchen, always cooking. And he heard the bees making a bunch of noise and racket. He came out and looked, and I got 2 beehives that have swarmed on me. You can see right here, the beehives. I got 4 of them here. Goes to show you no matter what you do, they're going to swarm when they want to, because I was in the hives last week. I moved some frames around. I've actually split one hive and I added a box. So I don't know which 2 actually swarmed, but 2 of those right there swarmed on me. Let me show you right here in the tree. The first swarm, it started about a half an hour ago. There was a lot of bees just flying around, and I happened to look in the tree and there was one little spot of bees clustered. And now all those bees that were flying around, you can see now they're clustered right here. Usually when they swarm, they're not going to be aggressive because they want to be hanging with the queen. In that ball, there's a queen that came out of one of those boxes. And what I'm going to do is capture those bees, put them in a container, and put them in a hive of their own, creating a new hive. So we have one swarm there, and over here, we have swarm number 2. As you can see, this swarm is much, much larger than the first swarm. Matter of fact, it's about twice as large. But again, in that swarm, you'll see a queen bee. And I will capture both of these swarms and put them in boxes on the other end of the farm. So in order to do that, even though they're not going to be all aggressive, you're going to need your bee suit. And you're going to need a nice tall ladder, like you see right here. I have my bee suit, my trusty rubber gloves. Got to have some nice gloves. And you need a container to put the bees in. I keep this handy all the time because you never know when the bees may swarm, or you might see a neighbor that might have a swarm and I have to go capture them. And what I put in here, I put some honey and some water, some sugar water. So what I'll do, I'll spray that cluster of swarm bees. It'll wet their wings so they'll stay, and they'll focus on getting the water, sugar water off of them, and won't take off. But once I get them nice and soaked down really, really good, then I'll shake them into this box, and then I'll transfer them into a small hive that I have already. So I'm gonna put my bee suit on, and I'll be back with you in a few minutes. I have my bee suit on, got my gloves on, I got my sugar water, got my container. I'm gonna take the ladder, move it over there near the bees, spray them up real good to get them really wet, and I'll shake them into this container, and then I'll transfer them into another hive. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and I'm gonna spray both hives down, both swarms down with sugar water to make sure they don't leave. So I soak it down really good. Yeah, this is a really small swarm, but nevertheless, there's a queen in there somewhere. They're nice and soaked down, really, really good. Now just shake them. Spray them again. Keep them wings wet. Then I will transfer them into their own little new hive. I'll put it on my four-wheeler. Because I already got a hive set up on the table. I'll put them in the hive, and then I'll transfer it down in the back field. I'll meet you back at the hive under the tree. Have have some of my boxes and frames and stuff that I haven't really got organized yet because I wasn't really prepared to catch a swarm, but it is what it is. So I just threw some boxes quickly together because it's a small bunch of bees, a small swarm. I'm just going to put it in a 5-box loop, and then later on I'll either add a 5-box or I'll transfer it into a 10-box. But for right now, this is good enough for them. So I'll open this up. They should be calmed down a little bit. You can see they're calm now. See, because they're all wet. They're focusing on getting that sugar water off of them. So I'll just dump them in here, just like that. Again, that queen is in there somewhere. And I'll put the frames in. I'll put the tops on. And then I'll leave them be. And I'll put some sugar water into this a little bit later. So this is good enough for now. They'll get settled in because the queen is there. They won't leave. And now I'll go get swarm number 2. Alright, so now I'll move the ladder. You can see there's no more bees here. Because see, the queen is not there. They're not smelling the pheromones from the queen, so they have no desire to be here. So now I'll go and capture swarm number 2. As you can see, this swarm is much, much bigger than the other one. Matter of fact, I would say it's twice the size as the other one. So I'll take my time and put a lot of sugar water on it to calm them down and get them ready to transport. Again, the queen is in there. So what I'll do, I'll spray it down some more. They won't drown. What that does is just calm them down and wet their wings so they won't leave. So what I'll do, I'll bring this down gently because it'll have a tendency to fall apart if you don't. And spray it again. Want to make sure you keep a lot of water on it because there's a lot of bees. A lot of bees. Everybody's fine. All right. We all in there. Well, we got them in. There's a lot of bees. So they still might try to go back up there to think the queen is there. But I'll double back and try to capture any more if her pheromones is still on the limb. So put these in the box, get them settled, and then I'll come back to see if there's any other bees that I can catch, some residual bees. So now we're gonna put these in the second hive. Because that swarm number 2 was a lot more bees, I'm gonna put it in a 10 frame box instead of a 5 frame box. Luckily I have enough. So I'll put those in a bigger box because they're gonna need more room. So what I do, I put my frames in and then I'll take some out to leave room for the bees. Get me a base and an inner cover and a top. Okay, I got a base here. Clean up some of this. Again, I'm prepared, but kind of prepared. Luckily, I have enough to choose from. If I want it, it's not as nice as what I would like. Here we go. Okay, we got the base, we got the frames, we got the inner cover, and I have a top that I put on it. And then I have a waterer that I'll put some sugar water in. I got the plastic top somewhere. I'll find it. Here it is. And I'll put that. And I'll put sugar water in this, and I'll put sugar water in this. So the bigger swarm needs a bigger box. You can see these now all calm. They're now flying around. So you want to take a look. They're in there settling down. The queen's in there somewhere. I'll leave them alone. And then I'll put in the new ones in here. And then I'll go back to the tree to see if I can capture some more of the residual bees that were flying around. I'll put a little bit more sugar water on them to calm them down. You see, that's much, much bigger than the other one. Much bigger. Look at that. That's a lot of bees. That's the size, the normal size of a swarm. The first one was really, really small. And see, when you put a lot of sugar water, they'll just flow right in. Yeah. They're just as happy as can be. Got 2 today. So I'll move them around a little bit, get them situated, get them settled, put the top on, and let them be happy. I want you to listen to them. Listen to that. I just put those in. They're trying to get everything figured out. Now come over, listen to first swarm. Barely hear anything at all. They're getting accommodated in their happy home. All right, so I'll check on, see if there's any more bees in swarm number 2's trees, and then I'll move them to their resting place. But these bees are flying around. I'll give them a chance to find out the entrance and get in. And by that time they'll be settled, and then I'll move them. As you can see, this is where swarm number 1 was, and basically no bees at all. Because the queen is gone, no pheromones, and I basically got them all. This is swarm number 2. You see, and this is the reason why I wanted to come back, because a lot of bees were swarming around and they still smell the queen on the limb. So I come back and capture some more bees. So I'll do the same thing. I'll spray them down with some sugar water. And then I'll shake them into the box. Because there were so many bees, it disturbed them, and a lot of them flew away. And that's why I wasn't able to spray them down and get them into the box. But that's why you always come back, because there's always going to be some residuals, especially with a swarm that was as large as the second one. It's kind of difficult to do that up on a ladder. hanging onto the ladder and hanging onto the tree at the same time. But I was able to get some in there. And again, I'll spray them down again to calm them down. Pretty amount in there. And I'll join those with the other bees. Matter of fact, I'm just going to hang around a little bit because I see some more late to the party. I'll put this in the shade, and I'll let those gather up, and then I'll catch some more. That's a lot of bees.
Farmer D's, Culper, Virginia. See you when I see you.